Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Valvoline and Sparesbox. Don't forget Benny 5 on checkout. This week, we are talking brake upgrades with the Falcon, and we also need to fit a catch can to the transmission. Why, you ask? Well, as it turns out, we filled the transmission up to the correct level, apparently according to the internet. But now, after drifting it for half a day, it actually gets quite warm and pushes fluid out. To me, that says it's actually over full, but according to the internet, you actually need to fill it through the reverse plug, which I have done. I am going to pull that out today to make sure that the level is still correct. I don't really know how it would have found more oil, but I don't know. Now, the brake upgrade we are going to do is the FG turbo brakes on the front, which actually only requires a caliper bracket and a new disc. I've also got some new pads for that. But on the rear, we are putting the territory brakes on it, so or they're also known as a PBR brake upgrade. So basically, it's a larger caliper, a larger disc, and also you get a much larger surface area pad, which is going to be great for the hydraulic handbrake inline setup. And it's still way cheaper than trying to do a second caliper. So for this level of car, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. But there's going to be plenty on, and I've also got some new wheels actually to put on the back. I've got a marketplace score. So happy days, let's dive on in.
What's all this dirt on the ground?
What dirt?
Is that literally from the track?
It's just from my off-roading Falcon. Probably didn't even see when I went off the track at speed and nearly died. That's why all the under tray's munted and the front bar's damaged and... Yeah, see there's like all new damage in the under tray and the front bar.
I'm glad you fixed it before you went to the truck.
I know, right? I'm just washing the car down now because it's going to take a while for this area to dry, so I'd rather not be trying to work in freshly degreased area. There's actually not a lot under here at all, but it looks like a lot because of how it spreads. Just sort of give it a quick while we're here, you know?
Technical terms.
We now have plumbed water inside the shop.
Wow.
So good. Man, I love these wheels.
Yeah, they are cool.
I would kill for another pair of these, eh?
What are they again? What brand?
Enki RPO 3s.
Oof.
They would have been probably 32 GTR sizing, I reckon.
Which is
17 by 9 plus 22, I think.
Yeah, right, yeah.
No, 17 by 10, 18.
Wow.
They're actually bigger than I thought. So they're probably actually R33 GTR sizes. We should put your Rega Masters on your Falcon.
Do you know, I was thinking the same thing. The center ball wouldn't fit though, right?
Should do.
Yeah? Okay.
Because they're Regas, they're not factory Nissan sizing.
Yeah, okay, right.
Most aftermarket wheels are like 73 mil.
I don't understand the whole center ball thing. So does the center ball lock the wheel in? Like what actually holds the wheel on?
So on a factory car, come closer, I'll explain.
Yes.
Come closer. So this is your center hub, or your wheel hub. And that lip on probably 90% of cars is designed to actually support the load of the wheel. So the studs are actually only to hold the wheel on, not to support load. That is the design. Unfortunately, myself included, the wheels that we run, the center bore is actually larger than this spigot. So as a byproduct of that, the load is transferred directly to the studs, which isn't correct. But the problem I have, especially with this car, is all the wheels I've got different center bore sizes, so I'd need center bore rings for every pair of wheels. That being said, I probably should at least get them for the front because those wheels live on the front. And arguably a lot of wheels are 73.1 center bore standard. The only problem is Falcon is actually quite large. I think these are 70.1. So trying to get a 70.1 to 73.1 adapter ring is not common. So yeah, maybe that's going to be a bend on the lathe problem later. But yeah, that is why you have a center bore on the rim and also this spigot here. Not all cars run it. Predominantly smaller cars I've seen without a center bore spigot. Some older Daihatsu, like K cars and stuff. My Mazda Porter that never had the spigot to locate a center bore. So like I said, it's not a be all and end all thing, but a lot of cars do run that, especially for the last sort of 30 or 40 years. Older cars also didn't always run it. A lot of older cars ran shank style wheel nuts and supported the load that way. Whereas now I've gone to like a tapered style nut and are using the center bore. The taper on the nut is also actually to get more surface area and more friction to locate the nut against the rim and sort of lock it against it. But yeah, there's all sorts of different ways and technologies that have been employed over the years to hold wheels on the cars, including center lock, which I don't have, but that'd be cool maybe one day.
Is it crucial to have our center bores correct given that we do a lot of truck stuff?
Probably yes is the correct answer. Center bore rings are also used actually a lot to stop vibration in road cars. So say you put aftermarket wheels on, you might have a vibration in the front end. They'll go balance the wheels again, the balance is spot on. More often than not, you've got minor differences in machining in the wheels and whatnot, and you may find they're actually half a mil out of round as far as the PCD is not necessarily drilled in the right spot, especially with cheaper wheels as well. So yeah, more often than not, they'll come with a plastic hub ring, which I feel is counterintuitive. They do melt. I have seen them actually melted at track days. So if you're going to do track days, make sure you get aluminium center bore hub rings. Yeah, different people have different theories, but yeah, personally, I probably get a bit lazy and don't really run the center bore locators a whole lot. That being said, companies like Koya Wheels will actually custom machine the center bore in wheels when they supply wheels. So the wheels that are on my IS600, they're made to suit that car. The offset's correct, the PCD is correct, the center bore is correct. So the downside of that is I can't put those wheels on this car. So that is predominantly why OE manufacturers, or aftermarket manufacturers I should say, of wheels have that 73.1. It's kind of an industry standard, but not everyone actually uses it. So yeah, you can go 73.1 back to your hub and adapt it back. Like some manufacturers are as small as like 56 mil. So yeah, depending on the manufacturer, then that's the other issue. There's so many different hub rings that you need to carry and find. So yeah, that's, I guess, the long version of a short answer. Sorry, internet. That being said, back to the task at hand, we are going to do the front brakes first because I'm standing here. So fortunately, Ford used actually the same caliper in the turbo and non-turbo models, with the difference being the anchor bracket. So on the non-turbo variant, the holes are actually much closer to the top end of the bridge. So we're just going to swap the brackets over. Obviously need to change the discs as well. And because we're putting new discs on, we've got new pads. We do have some Bendix Ultimates from Sparesbox, as well as some DBA discs. So we're going to throw all them on. I am going to clean the bores of the slides out because they're going to be re-greased anyway. These are secondhand. You can actually buy these brand new, and they're actually a lot cheaper than I thought. So probably worth just picking up some brand new ones. So then you're not trying to either buy a whole set of calipers for no reason, or end up with junk. Of course the bolts wouldn't even be the same end to end because Canberra things.
I like that you kept the camera plate on as just memorabilia.
Homage.
Yeah. I noticed some people at the track had funky plates like something.
Yeah, there was a few US plates. I actually did think about putting the Texas plates on that I've got. So they were for the Fox Mustang, but we ended up actually cancelling the rego before we used it.
Does it make sense to put Texas plate on this though?
I don't know.
It does look cool.
Does it make sense to put a Texas plate or a Wyoming plate or a Hawaii plate on a 180? Probably
True.
not.
People do it, don't they?
Yeah, why not? Do whatever you like. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's true.
It's your car. Express yourself. Have fun with it.
I agree. I like that.
People get too bogged down in what everyone else does with their own cars.
Yeah.
Like, just put your manners back in, bro. Who cares? It's not your car. You don't have to pay for it or live with it. So just put your manners back in. People aren't coming up criticising your car.
Yeah.
But you know what? Inherently, that is part of the problem. People don't come up and criticise. They wait till they get home in the comfort of their lounge room, and then that's when they talk shit, is on Facebook.
People used to do the antenna deletes. I think there was an S13 there that had the radio antenna just like extended, almost like a style point.
They probably would have just a standard Jap antenna on it, to be honest.
Well, I thought that actually looked real cool.
So this is obviously our non-turbo anchor bracket. And when you go side by side, you can see the difference. Obviously, like I said before, the pad is a lot closer to the top side of the bridge here. So you've now pushed the whole caliper effectively out by, I'd say, 15 millimeters, which would make sense because the rotor's 30 mil bigger in diameter from memory. One thing worth keeping in mind with brake upgrades is to make sure that you've actually got wheel clearance for your new brakes, regardless of what they're from. There's two, I guess, paths you can really look at for brake caliper and brake upgrades with cars. You can pick and choose OEM parts from other models like what we've done. A lot of OEs will actually use similar anchor mounts between models. A good way of looking at cheap upgrades can be to go to a larger car in the same brand. So if you're into Toyotas or Lexuses, look at the larger passenger cars like the LS400 or the Century even. Those brakes can be retrofitted to Soras, JZX100s. Some of those cars do require inserts to go here to change the actual physical spacing. But yeah, there's tons of OE style caliper kits that you can put into cars. My IS600 has LS430 calipers with a custom bracket. So that's another really good option. You can also go down the path of aftermarket caliper kits. The biggest thing, however, to keep in mind is to make sure if you are going to use them on the road, and I am generalizing to Australia here, I'm not sure about other market or other country requirements, but in Australia you must have dust boots on the pistons. A lot of brake caliper kits, especially that come out of the US, Willwood, aerospace components, a lot of those brakes aren't really designed for road use, so they don't have dust boots. The other issue I've seen with a lot of those kits too is the pads themselves are quite thin, so they're not really good at dissipating heat long term. Also, the other issue is the discs are quite thin as well. So in the case of the Mustang, they're not even vented, so they're not really designed for either endurance track use or sustained braking on the road. Whereas going to another OE style brake system, they're already designed for road and passenger cars. So if you're engineering it in Australia, it's a lot easier to engineer it, especially this sort of stuff that we're doing today is a direct bolt on. There's no custom brackets or anything like that. So most engineers will take a 5-minute look at that and go, yeah, no worries. Some may require a brake test depending on how it's done. Some may also require a report on the nut if there's an adapter nut or insert. But yeah, again, I'm generalizing, so it's best to speak to your particular engineer or mod plater who's going to certify the car in your state or territory or country. New Zealand actually I think is fairly similar to Australia. I'm on some random Facebook group that is actually in New Zealand. Don't even know how I got into it, but they also cover the certification and engineering of cars in New Zealand as well. So I kind of just jump around and look at what's going on globally for these kind of chats actually. So yeah, my recommendation, if it's a road car, definitely try and source a brake kit for another road car. Nissans and Subarus are really good examples of this. There's so many different caliper configurations that literally bolt on. So Subaru and Nissan were very lazy, for want of a better term, smart. And all of these pickup points on nearly all the models, Liberty, Legacy, Impreza, Forester, all those sort of things, all use the same hubs, the same anchors, all that sort of setup. So you can get a base model WRX or a base model even Impreza and put STI Brembos on it with very minimal adapting. The rears aren't bolt on, however, but yeah, there's tons and tons of different configurations available, same as Nissan's. S14, S15, R32, R33, R34 brakes are really common retrofits to some of the earlier cars. The turbo variants have much larger calipers and pads as well, so there's tons of options out there. Personally, yeah, my recommendation is to go the OEM stuff because it's easily certified.
So you said these were from a territory.
These are from a territory.
Yeah.
The rears are from a territory.
Yeah.
And the fronts are Falcon Turbo.
Yeah,
this
cool.
bracket is Falcon Turbo.
And they would have to be obviously bigger and more efficient at braking because of the towing capacity more so? Or
Well,
because
just the
turbo?
physical weight of the car.
Okay.
Well, the territory particularly is a heavier vehicle. And then obviously the turbo, being a performance model, they've got bigger braking capability. They make more power physically, so they need better braking.
I'm wondering how they determine what brakes are adequate and...
Science.
Like, do they sit there and do brake tests? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They'd be, bro, there's literally engineers that are doing all that sort of stuff on the regular.
And I'm assuming it would have to stop within a certain distance.
Oh, I think that's like, yeah, only one of the very minimal, like, basic requirements.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be looking at heat dissipation.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to
brake
it.
cycling, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot more than just basic, you must stop within a certain range. Yeah, I think that'd be one of very many requirements is the physical stopping distance. You'd be more looking at stopping time as far as how many times will it stop before the brakes start to fade, and even things on an OE level like noise, like how noisy are they? So they'd change. Some manufacturers might go through 100 pad compounds before they find a good compromise of braking efficiency and noise.
Couldn't imagine the hours that are going into that.
The guy I know in America is literally an engineer for these. That's his job.
Wow.
Hectic, hey?
Yeah.
They do different things with those pad shims for noise, thermal conductivity, all sorts of stuff. So pretty cool deal.
Were they the dust boots you were referring to before?
No. So the dust boots I was talking about are these ones on the actual pistons.
Yeah.
So typically aftermarket calipers are going to be a 4-pot style, so they're not going to have those slider pins anyway. But yeah, that's the dust boot I was talking about. Don't need that anymore. Now let's hope that these discs are right. That feels like a rear. Hope I got this right, eh?
Yeah, me too.
Yoink. So far, so good. Yeah, that looks about right. I guess that's probably a fairly good illustration of the difference.
You can say difference in diameter. How about thickness?
It should be the same. It has to be the same because the caliper's the same. Now this is actually a really cool trick. I saw this on TikTok the other day. No, it wasn't TikTok, I lied. I don't TikTok.
It's okay if you do.
I'm not Kesha. So I'll put the disc on backwards and then brake clean it like that.
Yeah.
Because it's always awkward to try and hold it while you're brake cleaning it.
Yeah, that's clever.
And you're like,
That wasn't even a sound effect from your mouth. That just happened when you flip a new disc like that. Oh look, you're using brake cleaner
to
in
clean
the way that
brakes.
it's meant to be used.
I know, right? It is a rarity here.
No, I think
If you want footage you can't use, I can help with that.
Not today. We don't have much footage left on the
Yeah,
thing.
don't waste the card. I nearly said hard drive.
Same concept.
Why do they not put hard drives in cameras? For the heat, maybe.
Yeah, true. Maybe the size as
Probably
well.
heat and size.
Size, weight, yeah.
I suppose the other thing is too, if you have a corrupt hard drive in a camera, could you imagine the mission to fix that?
Plus the SD cards are tiny.
What's SD stand for?
True. Do you know this?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's a great
Come on,
question.
Dr. Carl, what's it stand for?
That's a great question. It stands for Sugar Daddy.
You just voice
and then I'm just voice overing. Yeah, you knew exactly what I was doing.
Yeah, you sneaky bastard. I know your vibe. Captain Post-Production over here.
Is there a difference between the more performance pads and the standard ones?
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on the compound of the pad, whether it's gonna... Ultimate is still a street pad, so don't forget that either. Like, they are designed for all conditions, but they will handle more heat. Like, I wouldn't use them as a track day pad, but for drifting and high performance road driving, if that's what you want to do, like, they're a good option. But like I said, they're definitely not a true track pad.
So the main difference between...
Remember when we put Ultimates in yours and the handbrake actually worked well?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it has more initial bite.
Interesting.
And that's all based around the pad compound.
So depending on your application, you'll pick something that either handles heat better or bites cold or whatever?
Yeah, or works better. Like, so a lot of road pads, they're gonna work better from dead cold. Like, a true motorsport pad will be absolutely garbage when it's cold.
Okay. But that's so it can handle probably the compromise is so it can handle higher heat
Yeah,
later.
exactly. The thermal rating is higher, but the temperature operating range doesn't start at 0. Like, a lot of brake pads will have a scale of how they operate from dead cold, but a lot of motorsport pads you'll see, they start at like 300 degrees.
Yeah, crazy. And like you're saying before, the main thing that determines that is what the material that they're made
the
out
pad
of.
compound, so just what it's physically made out of.
There you go.
Oh, there's a lot of force in that.
Yeah, because some brakes are actually noisy, right? Some brake pads, I mean. So.
Yeah, so a lot of pads are noisy, and that's a byproduct of the compound of the pad and it being a lot harder physically. The material is a lot harder.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, the harder the material, the quickly it wears the discs.
Ah, yes, of course. There's so much to it.
Science.
Of course, middle of the car. Direct middle of the vehicle.
Thanks, bro.
You're right.
I don't know what to do without you.
You probably just get it. Oh, a bit of ASMR for the audience there. 10-hour loop for anyone that wants. No, just kidding.
Don't make claims you can't back up, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I can. I just don't know if I really.
That's a lot of work.
It
You were just
is.
complaining about editing stuff, and now you want to make a 10-hour loop of a ratchet. So here's a question.
Yes.
If you were to make a 10-hour loop of a ratchet,
Yes.
do you just take that clip, then double it, then double that clip, then double that clip, or do you literally use the same 10 seconds back to back to back to back?
No, I think what you said it initially. You know, it's like the same thing as when you try and.
Or do you literally just punch that into your computer and it just loops it automatically for 10 hours?
Oh, I'm sure there'd be an app that would do that.
Yeah, right.
There's an app for everything these days, you know. And if there's not, there's another $1 million idea gone.
There's a channel on YouTube called The Lazy Lesbian.
Okay. And what's it about? 10-hour loops?
It's 1 hour loops of songs.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's zero, like you say, there must be an app that just loops the song because there's zero work in it.
Okay, so like, I would assume like a DJ meshes other songs into
Yeah, but
other
it just
songs.
keeps looping the same song.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I wonder why anyone would want that.
I don't know.
Probably to. Sounds
Maybe they like the song.
Sounds like some sort of torture method.
Nah. You don't like hyperfixate on one song and listen to it back to back?
No, not really, because I don't want to ruin it.
You don't
I'm like,
have
I like
ADHD.
it. I like it and respect it so much that I don't want to ruin it for myself.
See, I'm the hyperfixate guy.
Yeah, I see.
Hence me knowing that channel exists.
It's so nice and shiny. Why do they just cut the lines like that?
Because record things.
Okay. Because they're like.
Pretty standard.
Yeah, cool. Because you can always just get new lines, and most people would, or.
Or you reuse the lines you've already got.
Yeah. Just a time saving.
Pretty standard record things to just side cut it straight through the lines.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they've got to be efficient with their time and
Or they're lazy, one or the other.
all that.
Efficiency, that's a good way of saying lazy. I just can't this up. That one with that. It probably wouldn't matter, but I don't want to find out that it does. There's a lot of DBA roaders that actually say not to use brake cleaner now
Oh, really? Why is that?
because they use this special paint on the hats now and they don't actually spray any sealer on them anymore. That's why they're wrapped in that brown paper, because it's designed to absorb all the moisture and protect the part.
What are you doing there?
Cleaning up the slide bores.
How does the actual heat markings work? So once it turns to that colour,
No, it already is that colour.
yeah,
So there's 3 different paint lines on the rotor,
yep,
and each colour is a certain, that paint will turn white
once it's gotten to that temperature.
once it's got to that temperature, yeah.
Oh,
So it'll
that's
burn,
cool.
effectively that paint will burn at that temperature.
And is there a temperature that once it hits that I don't know, you shouldn't reuse the disc anymore? Or
Yeah, probably once you hit whatever the highest colour is, it'd probably be red.
Okay, cool.
I'm assuming red's bad.
Is that because of a potential warp thing, or what's the...
Warp, crack.
Okay.
These DBA discs are fine for street, but they're not, same thing, they're not a track. They're a great street disc, but they're not a true motorsport disc, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like these are kind of entry-level performance discs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it literally says Street Series on the blocks.
Yeah. It's
So-
pretty crazy when you really think about it, when you see brakes blowing.
Yeah, these discs wouldn't cop that, and it's nothing. It's not hating on these products. It's just not what they're made for.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like a lot of those discs will have a lot different metallurgy to a road car disc anyway. Like a road car disc's going to be a lot softer. Typically, especially European car, they're going to have a much softer disc. A lot of European cars, for whatever reason, they have a much softer disc, and every single time you do pads, you do discs.
Wow.
Whereas a lot of Japanese and American and Australian cars, typically you'll get at least 2 sets of pads to a set of discs. Toyotas specifically use, like their discs seem to go forever. This is probably the first time I've actually reused a brake line.
Does it feel weird?
Well, I just always put upgraded brake lines on stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually tried to buy some lines from Hell, and they're like, no, we don't do Falcons, they're too hard. which
there
I
you
get because there's a lot of fittings in Falcon lines,
go. Oh, okay.
but it's also very annoying. It's probably the first part I've encountered that's not easy to come by.
In a Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Garbage.
Oh, literal for the bin?
Yeah, probably.
Scrap?
Well, scrap-boo.
Yeah. Also for scrap?
Scrap. You know what is cool though? I will show you the new disc. So this is probably the biggest upgrade. Not only is it a much larger diameter, but this one's also vented. So the old Falcon disc was solid, full taxi deal. But the territory disc, which I will say this, Ford actually used this on the FPV models that were non-rear Brembo car. So that's why everyone calls it like the PBR upgrade or whatever, but they are just literally territory discs. And interestingly, if you had a non-Brembo or a Brembo rear FPV car, they actually use the same disc. So, knowledge sandwich.
Did you mean that pun when you said it's cool?
No,
When referring to the disc?
I did not.
There you go.
Not everything has to be a pun, Gian. That's the beauty of puns.
Just naturally
You
talented
don't have
then.
to force it, it's just natural.
Yeah, your subconscious just swoops on in there and comes out every now and then.
I feel like you're really trying to oversell it though. You got to dial it back a bit.
What's this for again?
No idea, but it doesn't line up with anything. Put a bit of magical goo on it. Right rear, left rear. Going for a walk. Call me Craig David because I'm walking away. Hope the brake lines work.
When you said at the beginning of the episode to check your wheels clear, have you checked that your wheels clear?
No.
Cool.
Oh, they smell like rotten fish. Smell it.
Oh, why do they smell like rotten fish?
I don't know.
Maybe same factory as where they produce fish food. Not fish food, but tuna or
Food
something.
made
I
out
don't
of
know.
fish.
Food made out of
Maybe John West makes brake pads. It's the brakes they reject that makes John West the best.
Why is that in your mind? You've been marketed to.
It's a rich tapestry in there.
Are you expecting the hydro to be able to function a lot better now?
I guess so. Yeah, the brake line will work. It's a little bit funky, but we're not like in trouble. Just bending this bracket back to actually where it should be, because that's just the standard Falcon line, which actually works fine with the territory caliper. It is a little bit funny, but it's not. There's no concern. That's the best bang for buck upgrade, is like cheap parts off of stock other cars.
Did you mention how much this brake upgrade cost you?
The whole thing, including discs, is like, and this is retail,
Yeah.
like $1,000.
Okay, cool.
Pads, discs,
But
brackets,
that's really good
calipers.
for everything, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to be still, like, pads and discs are negligible because you'd be doing pads and discs anyway. The territory calipers themselves, I think I paid $220 per pair. Like, I got a set for your car as well. And the anchor brackets, I think, were like $100 a pair, somewhere in that kind of margin.
And if you weren't going to do this brake upgrade the way you have currently done it, like what's an alternative way and cost? Like
Full aftermarket or Brembos.
yeah, so that would be what?
Which admittedly,
thousands.
it's not a like for like. The good thing about this setup is it'll still clear tons and tons of wheels.
Yeah.
But the backside of that is it's never going to be as good as Brembos or like APs or an aftermarket brake kit, but it also flies under the radar and it is still going to be much better than a standard Falcon brake kit. So
Yeah.
I guess there's a good balance of budget and function.
Yeah. The thing I actually never understood about brakes and
Yes.
upgrading them before was I just thought if you upgraded calipers, for example, they had they would pinch the discs harder and therefore lock the car's brakes up quicker. But
Yes
I
and no.
guess yeah, but I guess
There's some element of that, but it also depends on the size of the pistons in the calipers, the amount of pistons,
surface area of the disc would have a lot to do with it, right?
and the pad.
Okay, there you go.
So
'Cause-
like these, for instance, still going to be a single pot rear caliper, but a lot more surface area of the pad, and the disc diameter is larger. so you get more leverage.
And that would mean that you basically would be able to slow down, let's say, quicker before it locks up.
Oh, no, you're getting too technical. My brain hurts.
Okay, yeah. And I also...
Science words.
Yeah.
Someone who knows more about brakes than me can comment and let us all know. And tell me what I've done wrong today. I find it very amusing that it's got new rear discs, or newer than the front, and also new rear pads. Tell me you were doing burnouts flat out without telling me. That paper smells like cookies. Someone got butthurt about me saying cookies on the channel, not biscuits. And I feel like cookies and biscuits are not the same. Yeah. A biscuit to me is very thin, like crispy, whereas a cookie is like that real traditional American, way too much butter, very soft.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's actually a different thing. Lots of good stuff. Except for the health factor.
Taste buds love it though.
Yeah, taste out of 10. Brake pad, brake pad, brake pad, Batman. Sploot. So I think I'm just going to jump in and start it and feel the pedal and the handbrake. Oh yeah. It's like climbing in a jungle gym. I feel like there's still a bit of air in the back.
Ah, okay. Does that mean it's leg day for me?
Might be.
Cool.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of air in the back still.
Is that because the foot brake feels normal, but the hydro doesn't?
Well, no, if you pump it up for a bit, it's good and then it goes away,
okay.
Which typically means there's air in it.
Yeah. Man, you go through these bottles.
When you bleed brakes, it just does use a lot of fluid. I'm also done all the way around. I'm not going to do the fronts again. I might actually put the front wheels on because then it clamps the discs straight. Oh yeah.
They clear?
They do clear.
Lovely.
I think.
By how much?
Not a lot.
Wow.
They don't need to clear by a lot though. Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Oh God.
Got ya.
Oh. Fish on.
That's just the disc running on the pad.
5 and hold.
The handbrake shouldn't need to be bled because there's no air there. I've just swapped the calipers.
5 and hold.
I just want to see what it's doing. Yeah, same deal. Righto. Now just go foot brake again. Shouldn't need to do the hydro again.
5 and hold.
On the foot?
Yeah, on the foot. That felt different that time.
Yeah.
To last. So
Air came out the very first go. There you go again.
5 and hold.
I like that it's just off the shelf, cheap Ford parts. Don't have to, like, this isn't big bucks.
Yeah.
You did ask me off camera before, which I don't think we actually talked about
Calipers.
twin caliper versus single caliper in the back and what the pros and cons are of each.
Yes.
Here's my take on it.
Yes.
And I'm no pro driftologist, but my take on single versus twin, pros for single is cost and simplicity. Inline system is heaps cheaper to set up because you don't need second set of rear calipers, second set or a set of caliper brackets, a second set of custom brake lines. Realistically, a properly set up rear, like a standalone hydro, is going to be like $2,000 minimum. This whole setup, not including that brake setup, admittedly, because you can run it with the stock stuff, was like $500, like all in and done. Admittedly, I installed it myself, but anyone can do that as long as they've got a brake flairer. Functionality wise, for a pro level car, a lot of people go for that separate braking system or divorced hydraulic system because you can brake independently on the rear brakes and the hydro. If you want to do, I guess basically the long and short of it is you can change the characteristics of the car using the foot brake and the handbrake independently, where you can't do that in this car because you can't foot brake and handbrake independently on the rear circuit. interestingly, Project Mu actually make a rear caliper that is a single caliper. It's a 4-pot caliper, but it's got 2 pistons for the rear brake and 2 pistons for the hydraulic, and it's actually got 2 separate split shoes in there as well. So split pads in there. So it's a pretty cool thing. I digress, but I thought I'd kind of answer that question. If someone's got a better answer to that question, let me know, because I know I botched that answer a little bit. But anyone who's actually a skilled drift driver, please feel free to comment, like genuinely let us know, because I would like to know from someone who knows what they're talking about their answer, because I see pros and cons, and people always all the top guys seem to want to have that divorced hydraulic as opposed to the inline setup. But all the cars we put together, I've always just done the inline for the cost effectiveness and the simplicity of it, and just stock parts. Like a lot of guys I've seen, there is someone doing a twin caliper setup for B&F series, but there's a lot of fabrication going on, and it's not super neat. You've got to grind calipers and all sorts of stuff. So just for ease of use, this has been fine for all of us.
Yeah.
Good chat. Let's put the wheels on.
Good value for money. Just on that note though, when you're operating the foot brake, what's the brake bias doing in our particular instance on these Falcons?
Nothing's changed.
As in,
so no brake bias has changed, because we've got no. There's no different proportioning valves or anything in it than it would have had standard, so the bias is still the same.
So standard, what's the bias? Are we talking like 75%?
I don't know.
To the
Ask
front,
Mr. Ford.
and 25 to the rear?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, you wouldn't have. Here's the thing that people get confused. The braking capacity of the axle versus the pressure is not the same thing. So people say like, 70% of your braking's done by the front axle. That doesn't mean that it's got 70% more hydraulic pressure. So there's 2 different things, because if you don't have enough hydraulic pressure to the back, they're just doing nothing. But typically the front will do a lot more braking, because you've got a lot of rate transfer to the front. You've got heavier components over the front axle, all that sort of deal. So yeah, pressure and brake split are not the same thing necessarily. Sometimes it may work out that way, but it's not a rule.
So what's happening when you're going into a corner and you're clutching on the handbrake and trying to slow down with the foot brake as well? What?
In this car?
Yeah.
You've already got braking pressure riding the rear brake, so you're not going to get that snap grab like you would on a unloaded caliper.
Right.
So you kind of got to give more hydraulic pressure to get it to bite.
Right.
Because it's already kind of contacting.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
A driftologist will be able to answer our question, hopefully.
Yeah, cool.
Let us know. Luke Fink, let me know. What's in his Falcon?
Is that a genuine question?
Yeah, I think Luke's Falcon's actually like this.
Oh, okay.
I think
cool.
it is.
I wouldn't put it
Luke's
past
got a
him.
BF too, or BA.
I just love how rough and ready he is with everything, and it's just a testament to his skill.
I love that Patrol.
Oh man, so cool.
Dude can drive.
Oh yeah, of course.
I remember watching Luke at Oran Park in 2008. I can't remember what it was called. The Australian, like the National Drifting Series. And he won it in the Holford Motors S14, the green one. Do you remember the car I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
You probably just... Oh, you are.
Well,
maybe just too young.
I don't think I was into...
What? Talk?
I don't think I was into drifting back then.
Oh, you've changed. I remember drifting at Oran Park. And I don't mean me driving, I mean me going and watching. In the same way that they run the Wednesday night drag. So you used to have Friday night drifting at Oran Park.
So
it was like
cool.
$50.
That's awesome. Isn't Japanese drifting very cheap? Like to go there and don't you pay like, I don't know, isn't it like 9 to 5?
Well, I don't know how Japan runs all their stuff, but the tracks I've been to, you like pay by the hour.
Okay.
Suzuka Twin, which was set up for grip the day we were there, they were running, it was like 6,000 yen for an hour, which is like $60 basically.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like, buy the hour deal.
You know what? That's clever because it encourages people to go test out their car before committing to a full event.
Yeah. I need better wheel nuts.
Rotors, you've changed.
No, I haven't changed. That is the most incorrect comment ever.
Yeah, I was about to.
Bro, I was like OG
about-
rotor kid. I
Okay.
had multiple sets of rotors on my car.
Okay, so why do they get such a bad rap? And why do they get such a bad rap as being reps and cracking all the time?
Because that's all true.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's that answered.
There's no lies in that.
Okay, I
But-
guess. Yeah.
People hate on reps because typically they're copies of an original style of wheel. Like this is clearly a copy of a T37.
Yeah.
And I don't endorse plagiarism or copyright or theft, but man knows the deal. I didn't buy it new. They'd already been bought and made and corrupted at that point.
Oh shit.
I didn't support Rotor. I supported Old Mate on Marketplace.
Whatever
Who
helps,
gypped me, by the way.
whatever helps you sleep at night.
They were advertised as a square set, and they're actually not a square set.
Ooh. But did you win?
Well, I won in the fact that the size he quoted was the narrower pair. So
Yes.
they're half an inch wider than what I was quoted on the rears. So, well, what are now the rears. So not the end of the world, but just annoying. And it was weird because I had the tyres fitted and I stacked them in the back of the Ram. And I was looking, I'm like, man, the tyres they're not stretched the same amount. What's going on? I'm like, the rims they've got to be narrower. And yeah, as it turns out, they're 17 by 9 plus 12 and 17 by 9.5 plus 12.
Is there any difference in grip, you think?
In
No,
grip,
because the
Still
tyre's the
same
same
size
tyre, it's just stretched a bit more.
I guess you could argue that a stretched tyre would have less grip. We need to get Dr. Carl on the channel.
Man, that would be the cool. Oh, of course, I would say that though. So biased. I listened to him on the way here this morning.
Of course you did. Nah, the guy's a wizard, bro.
So my question to Dr. Carl on his call show is going to be, hey, Dr. Carl, can you come onto our show?
Jump on our channel.
Nothing scientific about that question.
You should take him drifting.
Oh man.
I feel like he would be the most vanilla passenger ever.
I reckon.
He'd just be like,
Yeah. Yeah. The amount
and
of
then you'd
things.
stop, and then there'd be like a 5-minute physics lesson of drifting.
Man, I would love that.
Yeah,
Who's got Dr. Carl's number?
I do.
That's so random.
I don't even know why I have it. I feel like it's an MCM connection.
It's kind of even cool that you don't even know how you have his number. Like, that's just so nonchalant. You know?
There was no like criminal activity related to it. So now that we've done all that, we need to do the transmission catch can. Yes, you heard that right, folks. Transmission catch can.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is now, because my transmission pukes out.
So this is going to prevent excess oil from picking out
Yeah.
like it did at the track.
So it's going to go there, and we're going to have to trim this a little bit. Trim.
Ah, yeah. Trim this little lip that sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Are these structural?
Nah, they're only the sway bar brackets.
Cool.
They bend anyway, so cutting that lip off's not going to hurt. They'll still bend.
Just thought I'd get in there before the comment section asked.
Ah, they'll light up. These are actually designed to bend. Like that cutout makes it fold. Like they
Yeah.
fold through here.
Yeah, there you go.
That's exactly where that's going to snap. That's the breather. You know,
Okay, yeah.
but I want to get the right size hose, which I'm hoping is actually going to be 5/16 because I've got 5/16 hose, but I don't have 3/8 hose.
I just had a light bulb moment about what
Yes.
a catch can actually is and what it's doing. And
Yes,
that explained it right there. Everything coming out of the breather is going into the can that is catching all that oil.
That would have gone on the ground before.
Ah, there you go.
Oh, I love you, never change. You're the little brother I never had.
I hope I'm representing at least a small group of us that are just confused in the corner over here, you know?
Just crying in the shower.
Only sometimes.
A good shower cry, never hurt anyone.
I love this sound. 10-hour loop for anyone. No, I'm just kidding. No, God, no.
You're going to have a lot of 10-hour loops to edit. This is all fun and games until like 10 people ask for a 10-hour loop. Do you know when I went to school, part of our music thing was doing a song on Fruity Loops?
Ah.
Before it was FL Studio.
Okay, Fruity Loops is a program, not the cereal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wow. You're that young.
Look, I
Sorry
mean-
to all the 3 viewers that are still here and they're like, oh God, he's on another rant. Tangent City.
How do you get diagnosed with ADHD these days?
I don't know. Was it you that was telling me that there's like targeted ads on Facebook to convince? No, it was Woody. I was talking with Woody on the phone the other day,
Right.
and he said he actually went to a doctor, and the doctor, who's like actually a doctor,
Yeah.
not Facebook,
Yeah.
said that there's companies who will diagnose you
Oh, no way.
that are advertising on Facebook
Oh,
to convince
wow.
everyone they've got ADHD.
Man, what's this world come to?
I know, and he's like, it's a full thing.
I've seen those ADHD test ad things
Yeah.
all the time.
Yep. Well, apparently
And
it's a scam.
They're listing
Like super common boy things.
super common symptoms. Just like,
Yeah.
are you
Are
tired
you a man?
at night?
Yeah. Do you wake up tired? It's like, oh, you're in
Yeah.
your mid-30s.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is we now have a catch can on my transmission.
Just like that.
First time I've ever said that.
Job done.
I'm still going to put it up and check the level.
Yeah.
Because what's the bet I'll do it and it'll puke out everywhere.
So what's the catch can's capacity? Is it like,
Not much, probably 150 mil or 200 mil.
yeah, okay. So you
About
still,
the same size as a small Red Bull can, so 250. Science.
you and your Red Bulls. That's not science.
Can't tell me it's not science if you're not a scientist. Are you qualified to judge if it's science or not?
True.
Get in the bin.
God damn, you got me there.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh no, how sad.
Oh, that's a bad time. Well, the problem is this plug's got hot, so then
Oh, it's a bit melty.
it's a bit
is it?
melty,
Yeah.
and then as a result, I've just pulled the pins off.
Oh, okay.
I'll take the reverse switch out, then I'll just put 2 pins on it on the bench. There we go. Oh, if you can't find it, grind it. You can't just keep yelling numbers at it.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were doing a gridiron thing. 22.44.
It's no Bob Barker here, bro. The
So-
price is wrong.
So is it 21?
It's actually 22.
I was right.
What, on the 4th go? You'll edit it and you'll be like, 22. Don't trust him, people.
Our people would.
Well, it's not picking up the reverse light switch, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign. Oh, look, I'm fixing stuff that I just broke again for the 3rd time. To be fair, this didn't actually have a reverse switch before. Someone had just chopped the wiring off and sent it.
What's the motivation behind that one, you reckon?
I reckon that they got lazy when they wanted to fill the box up,
Okay.
which I now understand why, because you got to pull the reverse switch out. But it also stands to reason that under heavy loads, that is actually too much oil in the gearbox because it pukes out everywhere. So you can't tell me that that's correct. Ford also probably didn't do motorsport testing with that setup, to be fair, so it is what it is. It's not a dedicated track car from the factory. If this was a person, it would cry in the shower. Oh yeah.
There's the karate moves again.
How do you know it's karate, not like jiu-jitsu or something? Do you know? Are you qualified?
I don't know. I'm not qualified. You're right.
You've been to Mr. Wong's in Sydney? Have we already had the Mr. Wong's chat?
Mr. Wong's, no.
Chinese restaurant?
No.
You're probably not old to... Do you remember a nightclub called Tank Nightclub?
No.
Nah, you're not old enough. So in the...
I think I've heard of it though.
Yeah, so back in the day when I was a young pup,
Yeah.
there was a nightclub called Tank Nightclub. And as it turns out, it didn't do so well and they shut down.
Right.
But then Tank Nightclub got converted into a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, called Mr. Wong's.
There may be businesses in between there, mind you. But yeah,
Yeah.
bro, Mr. Wong is like the best Chinese restaurant in Sydney.
There you go.
It's primo, like it's expensive,
Rightio.
but my God. As a person who is rotund, you can trust my judgment on Chinese restaurants.
If you could go back to that era, would you visit Tanks again?
Would it still tank?
Haha.
Would I still go there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
What, as in like when I was that age or right now?
Knowing
Like
what
as in,
if
would
you
I
could
go back 10
If
years?
you could just time travel,
Would I go back to there?
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
I think everyone would go back to when they were in their early 20s, before there was as many. You were like still a young adult.
Yeah.
You didn't have like mortgages and children and all that sort of deal.
Yeah.
Oh, you still don't have children.
Yeah, this is also still true.
You're coming along. You'll get there.
But yeah, a lot less responsibilities, but still having the freedom.
Yeah, you've got enough money to be an adult, but you also don't have enough responsibility to be like tied down to stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to take that the wrong way, because I love my life, but it was just simpler times. And you know what? You could actually do something with $500 a week.
That too.
Like $500 a week, you weren't like, oh my God, I'm in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Because I was a poor little pleb apprentice at that point. Do you know how much I got my first year of apprentice per hour? My first year of my apprenticeship straight out of school.
Going back,
in 2006.
What year is this? 2006. Okay. Wait. So
hourly rate. Hourly rate.
Ooh. I don't know. First year apprentice mechanic.
Yeah.
$17 an hour.
Oh, bless you. Bless you.
Don't tell me it's like 14.
Bruh. Halve that.
No way.
Halve that and then some.
No way.
It was like $6 and change.
No way. Wow.
Yep. And people wonder why no one wants to do apprenticeships. A fully qualified mechanic would probably get like $25 if they're a base.
Wow.
Yeah. And they wonder why people don't do trades.
Wow.
I've been out of the trade so long, I don't even know what a base wage is anymore, but I'd imagine it's still garbage.
And that's pretty sad because to be a mechanic, look, all the mechanics I know have bad shoulders, bad backs.
And you know what else? You've got to supply all your own equipment. I want to remake that front pipe, hey. It always lasts one drift day and then it blows that seal out.
Oh, okay.
And it's very badly made anyway, to be fair. I'll probably buy a new set of extractors and then make a pipe.
Yeah, why? What's wrong with these ones?
Oh, they're just hammered. I'd imagine that there's probably some pretty thin spots in them, given how much of a hard life they've had. Probably almost be some burn through at this point.
Okay.
And they're not that expensive. And there's different ones you can get that flow better. And
so then that would just in turn create more power, maybe be more reliable for the car, or
probably neither. But I just don't want it to blow like actual rust holes in those headers.
Okay.
Because then it just sounds horrendous. And that's the sort of thing that would happen at a track day and then you just can't fix it on the spot.
Okay.
Well, we got another episode knocked out on the Falcon. Good episode, getting all the brakes done. Also confirmed that we did have a transmission leak coming out of the breather, so we plumbed the catch can in. Not particularly common in my experience, but if that's what's going to fix it, that's what's going to fix it. And I'd much prefer to do that than puke oil out on the track. It did only seem to do it for the last session of the day, but that being said, the car only did half of the day as well. So if we were to go back again, probably by lunchtime, the box would be hot enough that it could potentially puke that out again. So yeah, don't want to be oiling down the track. Even though the track's wet, there's no reason to be adding oil everywhere. Because yeah, other cars were also leaking oil, but it is what it is. Yeah, put the new wheels on too. Great success. Did find out that they're actually not a square set, which is a bit of a bummer, but luckily the advertised specs were actually for the smaller pair, so that's a win in my opinion. And the wider pairs still do just fit, so yeah, they'll no doubt be tacoed into a gutter at some point, but I'd rather bend shit wheels than expensive ones, so that's why you roll on reps. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. The people have spoken. They want to see you struggle.
are you going to be holding the camera?
Yeah, we'll just tripod heaps of it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, we just
tripods and GoPros, and then everyone's going to watch how bad I can film. It'd probably work to have a GoPro, like
just something catching
bird's eye view vibe or something.
Yeah.
It'll also only take me like half an hour to do those control arms.
Yeah. Shout out to any person that does YouTube that films what
Jeff.
they're doing.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I don't know how he does that, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone who does the filming, the editing, and the being on camera.
Yeah.
Man, full props. If John leaves, I'm out. Just putting it out there.
If Benny leaves, I'm out. Just putting that out there.
Well, glad we sorted that out. Locked in.
Sweet.
Good chat.
Great chat.